Today I'm going to show you how to clean a Canik METE MC9 very quickly using just a few items. The only items we're going to use today are Ballistol, a gun brush, a hops bore snake, some cotton swabs, and some cut up t-shirts. We may use some pipe cleaners if necessary. In order to field strip the Canik METE MC9, after clearing the gun and being 100% sure it is unloaded, point the gun in a safe direction, press the trigger, hold the gun like this, pull the slide back just slightly like that, grab onto the two takedown levers on either side, pull them down at the same time, let go of the slide, move the slide forward to about right there, and then it will lift right off the gun. It does not slide all the way off the front like most guns do. Alright, now that it's off the frame, press on the recoil spring and guide rod assembly and lift that up. And now the barrel will push up a little bit and you can pull it right out of the gun. Alright, now the gun is completely field stripped for cleaning purposes. Alright, so to clean the Canik METE MC9 with Ballistol, I'm going to start with the barrel. This is the dirtiest part. You can actually see some buildup, some crud along the edges of the inside of the barrel there. You got some carbon, you got some lead and some copper, so we want to clean that all up. So the first thing that I do is just get Ballistol and spray it in there. It foams up, so it fills it up pretty good. We're going to let that sit and loosen up all the dirt inside, and we're going to spray it down, so that's going to be good. We'll come back later and clean that up. The next thing we're going to do is do the same thing with the slide. So on the slide, the most important areas are going to be in this groove which runs along both sides. Those are the slide cuts, and that's where the slide slides along the frame rails. This part here is called the breech face, and this is the firing pin hole right here. We don't want to get any oil or Ballistol into this hole or down in this area back here, because this is where the firing pin moves back and forth, and that needs to be clear of anything that could kind of bog that down. So you don't really want any lubricant in there. But we're going to spray some Ballistol, just a little bit in the slide cuts. Whoops. Just a little bit in the slide cuts there. A little in the center, a little down in here. Then you can take your brush and kind of spread that around. We want to make sure we get the cleaner on all the surfaces here except where we talked about. And if you happen to get some down in there, I have a video on how to open up the firing pin channel and clean that all out. I'll link that up in the corner here, how to take the slide apart, but just be careful not to get it in there. We're going to set that aside. Then on the frame, the same thing. These are the rails that the slide slides on. This one isn't very dirty, but these kind of get dirty. You get a little bit of dirt down in here and on the other side. Just a little Ballistol on each of those rails. Spray a little down in here, just a little. Kind of spread that around a little bit. Alright, you don't want to get too much in there. Dirt might start adhering to the excess in there, so you don't want too much in there. Now the recoil spring and guide rod, you don't really need to clean that. It doesn't really say to clean that in the manual, but if you see any crud starting to build up, any carbon building up, just take a brush and kind of brush it real good and then wipe it down and get that nice and clean. That's all you need to do for that part. Alright, so let's let this all sit for a few minutes and we'll come back and wipe it down. Alright, so it's been a little bit of time here, so we're going to start with the barrel. I'm going to get a hops bore snake. This is the Viper version, and we're going to very quickly and easily clean out the inside of the barrel. So before we do that, we're going to get a couple of rags. This is just cut up t-shirt, and clean off the Ballistol and also the dirt that it dissolved right off of the barrel here. Clean off the feed ramp there as well. Alright, so now we're going to clean the inside of the barrel, or the bore, with a bore snake. A bore snake is just a long piece of material. It's got built-in copper brushes, which is going to clean the inside, scour anything that's kind of stuck in there, and then the rest of the material is just going to kind of clean and polish the rest of the barrel. So you just kind of pull it through nice and tight, which is good, because that get a good clean. I usually put this through about 2 times to can do it more if you want. 2 times usually does the job. Go right through like that. And now we take a quick look in there. See how clean and shiny that is now. Got all that dirt out of there real good. Get a cotton swab and just get the little edges there. Just clean it up like that a little bit. Clean everything up like this. Alright, you'll notice I'm not wearing gloves. Ballistol is skin safe, but still you don't want to get too much carbon on your skin. I would recommend using nitrile gloves. I'm not going to do that here because it's easier to control the camera and everything else that I'm doing here. But I do recommend wearing gloves to protect your fingers and your skin. Now we're going to do more or less the same thing with the slide. First we're going to get our rag and we're going to just wipe it down as best we can. Just with the rag first. Alright, get clean rags as often as you need. And the next thing you can do is, if you put a rag on there and get a brush, it kind of pushes the rag into the slide cuts and into the small areas inside the slide there. And that helps get down in there and get everything clean. Alright, and when you get everything as good as you can that way, get out your cotton swabs. I like to use these dual tip cotton swabs. These are my favorite cotton swabs. They have a regular end and a pointy end. The pointy end is perfect for getting into the slide cuts and getting the last bit of crud out of there. Works real good. And then use the other end to get the bigger areas. And then just use the cotton swabs to clean everything up to your satisfaction. Make sure you get the breech face here, and especially you want to get underneath. This hook here is the extractor, and that hooks onto the back of the brass to pull it out of the gun after the cartridge has been fired. So you want to make sure there's no dirt underneath of that extractor hook. Sometimes I like to use pipe cleaners to get in there. A pipe cleaner is perfect for getting right underneath of that extractor. And then just use your cotton swabs until you get everything as clean and dry as you want it to be. The pointy end of these swabs is perfect for getting right into these slide cuts and getting them nice and clean right in there. And if you need to clean the outside of the slide, I've got enough extra Ballistol just kind of floating around here to just wipe it down. You can add another drop of Ballistol to it if you want. Clean everything up. It'll get all the fingerprints off. Don't forget to get in the barrel opening here. Get that nice and clean. Alright, in the end your slide's going to look nice and clean. We're going to do the same thing with the frame. Just use a rag to get the bulk of the Ballistol off of there. And then you can use the brush to force the rag into the tight areas there. Force it down in here and get all that Ballistol out and all the dirt along with it. And then once you got everything as clean as you can with the rag, just get in with your cotton swabs. Again, the pointy end works really well here. Just clean everything up again until you're satisfied with how clean it is. Doesn't have to be perfect, you just want to get the bulk of the buildup. And if the grip has any Ballistol or dirt on it, you can just wipe that down with a rag. Alright, everything looks good. Alright, now we're going to lubricate the Canik MC9. First thing I'm going to do is put a very light coating of oil on the barrel. And to do that, I'm just going to put some Ballistol, tiny bit of Ballistol on a rag, and just kind of put a little residue on the barrel on the top here where it slides against the inside of the slide. Very little bit there. And then on the slide itself, I want to lubricate the slide cuts here. This is where the slide moves back and forth. A little bit right here on this piece here that slides back and forth as well. And then some down in the top of the hood here where it slides along the top of the barrel. So to do that, I'm just going to put some Ballistol on the end of this cotton swab here. And I'm just going to run that swab down the slide cut there, just to get a little bit in there. I'm going to put a little bit on this surface here, and then I'm going to get a little more just on here. I'm just going to put a little dab down in the top of there. Now on the frame itself, I'm just going to dab the rails, a tiny bit on the rails, just a little bit on the trigger bar here, what it says, especially where it rubs up against, and just a little on this ejector assembly here to kind of keep it from rusting. Alright, and that's about it for lubrication. Now we want to reassemble the Canik MC9, and to do that, take the slide upside down, place the barrel inside the slide. The recoil spring and guide rod goes in, large side goes in the front. Just squeeze it so it fits into the notch in the barrel lug right there, so it sits nice and horizontal. Make sure it's sitting in the slide just like that. Alright, now we want to put the slide onto the frame. Now on the MC9, you don't slide it on from the front like most guns. So what you want to do is line up these notches. There's a notch in either side of the slide here. Line them up with these rails here. So it's going to look just like this. And it'll go on lined up just like that. On this particular gun, the INC lines right up with the takedown levers right here. Make sure there's no gap between the slide and the frame, and then simply run the slide straight back all the way, lock it in place, make sure everything is still nice and tight. Alright, and then you can release the slide to the front. Try that a few times, make sure it feels right. If you need to, just do a final wipe down to get any fingerprints off of the slide. Now the next thing you want to do is a function and safety check. I'll leave a link up here in the corner. Just a few checks to make sure everything is functioning properly on your Canik MC9. And if you need to clean the magazine for your Canik MC9, I'll put a link up in the corner. I have a video on how to disassemble and clean your magazine. Alright, so thank you for watching. Please check out the links below for all the products that we used in this video, including Ballistol and the Hops Boar Snake Viper. And see you in the next video.